The return of the PFL comes this weekend with Anthony Pettis, Brendan Loughnane and more fighting in one of the world's premier organisations. And today we spoke to some of the fighters about their upcoming fights this weekend and more. Here's some highlights from the press day today. I hope you enjoy it. Hi, Sean Sheehan here from Severe MMA. A question I want to ask you, Anthony, you spoke about your progression outside of the cage, mentally and things like that, but I want to ask you about inside of the cage, tactically. One of the stats that I think shocks a lot of people is that you've won more fights by submission than knockout. Is that a thing that you've really kind of moved towards throughout your career, and where do you see yourself now tactically as an all-around MMA fighter?
Yeah, I think I was one of the first guys to have a dynamic game off my back, matched with a straight, good, strong striking foundation and that flashy movement. But a lot of my submissions came because I hurt guys standing, and then they shot, and then I take the submission. There's only a couple fights that I remember where I actually had to set up and go through the process of trying to submit somebody. Man, I'm ready for wherever it goes. I got out of that mindset of like what they're good at, and let me like stop their game. I know how good I am. I'm a complete martial artist. I'm good everywhere, and my confidence is at all-time high.
Is taking the fight to somewhere where you can get submissions something you've looked at in the past because you had such a knack of getting them at one stage of your career?
I did it, man. Honestly, I like now that I'm understanding the game and knowing, especially with this format, like I need to get in there and get out and not be injured. We definitely, me and Duke just looked at that whole concept of like, instead of pulling back and letting guys come in with the pressure, we added a clinch my game, clinch work, double legs, single legs. I mean, getting that fight to the ground is just an aspect of mixed martial arts. I'm not gonna go out there and try to go for the submission. I'm gonna just get into the flow, and whatever happens, happens.
I appreciate it, Anthony. Thank you for the time.
Thanks.
Hi, Lance. There's Sean Sheehan here from Severe Med. There's been a lot of talk recently about the best featherweight in the world, whether it's Patricio Pitbull, Max Holloway, or Alexander Volkanovski. Where would you put yourself in that talk, and do you think your name belongs with those names?
I think so. I did do an interview about this, and they asked me some questions about it. It's hard because I don't get to compete against any of those guys. You look at that, you look at those guys, and they're kind of in a promotion that has been around for a long time. The competition is well known there. The marketing is great there. They have their ranking system, their own ranking system, and that's kind of what people go off of. But I feel that I'm in the conversation for best featherweight in the world. But until I get to face one of those people, that's the only way I get to prove it. I can't really prove it, no matter how tough this roster is. And I know a lot of these guys on this, pretty much everybody on this roster is really high level, and everybody's really tough, but it's not going to prove that I'm the best featherweight in the world. The only way the main core group of people or media or anybody else is going to think I'm the best featherweight is if I fight one of those guys and get to beat them. And that's really it. I mean, we could talk all day, but until I get the opportunity to actually fight one of those guys who everyone else considers is the best, then it'll just be talking.
Do you think that this will be your last tournament at PFL, and you're going to try to move on to the UFC or one of the other organizations to prove that?
I don't know. We'll see. I think for now, I'm just focused on this Friday, obviously, and I'm really happy with being able to fight again and this season of PFL. But like I talked about a little bit ago, you could win both your fights and still not get in the playoffs. So that may change things for the future also. So we'll see. I'm just focused on this Friday, and then we'll go from there.
Good question. I don't think I'll ever get rid of that, to be honest. That seems to be the first thing that comes up in every interview. So, yeah, I don't think I'll be losing that title. 10-second Brendan won't be going away anytime soon. But, I mean, my goal is to be a world champion anyway. No matter what organisation that is, it doesn't really matter to me. It's a world title, it's a world title. My goal is to be comfortable after fighting. That doesn't change regardless of who I'm fighting for. So whether or not you call me 10-second Brendan, it don't really matter to me now because, like I say, 5 fights, win streak now. And I've got some really tough tests this year, and we'll see how good I really am. Let's see then. Let's see. If you don't believe me, then we'll see this year, won't we?
Hey Shimon, I just want to ask you again about your opponent, Brendan Loughnane. Obviously, in this side of the world, in the UK and Ireland, he's a really big name, and people have known him for a long time. Do you kind of get that? Has that kind of come true to you? And what do you think of him as a fighter as well?
Damn, yeah, I see him. He's a good fighter. I don't know nothing about the UK because I never been there, and I don't have many friends over there. But inside the cage, everybody's the same. Everybody have two arms, two legs. So him wearing, I'm wearing, gonna be a good show for you guys.
Hi, Clay. Hi. I just want to ask you. Obviously, there's been a lot of boxing questions here, but I want to just ask about a small technical adjustment maybe that you had to make going from MMA to boxing and now going from boxing back to MMA. Is there anything you can tell us, a small maybe technical thing that you had to change?
It's just my mindset, man, and the way I move my angles. The angles are a little bit different, but yeah, it's just my mindset. I'm ready to go in there as a mixed martial artist, and that's I've been working at this. Like I said, I've been working at being a mixed martial artist since I was started this at 18 years old. So.
Hi Marcin, I just want to ask you, it's been a really good time for Polish MMA recently, obviously with Jan Blachowicz and Joanna Jacek and others. How do you feel about representing Polish MMA in the PFL and in the tournament?
I'm really happy to be here in PFL. I'm really happy that I'm first guy from Poland in PFL, but I'm sure that there will be more fighters from Poland in PFL and the UFC and everywhere, because in Poland we have really good MMA, we have really good, awesome fighters, and in the future, the Poland will be one of the best nation in MMA for sure.